มวยไทยคือชีวิต
You may activate the service for a charge.
Hello, everybody. This is Eric Rivera from Muay Thai is Life, and this is Muay Talk, interviews with Muay Thai's champions. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Schilling Marcus, and he is scheduled to fight Joe Schilling February 25th at Battle in the Desert in Las Vegas. It's a huge fight, very highly anticipated bout. So how are you doing, Schilling? How is everything going?
Marvelous, just finished training a few hours ago. Training camp's going great, feeling strong and ready to do what I was born to do.
All right, man. So basically, as everybody would already know, and I'm sure you're well involved in this whole thing going on, this back and forth between you and Joe Schilling.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, it started with your interview on Total Muay Thai. You basically told them that you were going to expose him, and after that, it went from you guys deciding to throw down your purses, and basically winner goes home with only $1, I believe. And
yeah.
So what was the whole reasoning behind that? I mean, are you trying to hype up the fight? What was it?
No, it wasn't necessarily me trying to hype up the fight. It was just that when I first got the contract for the fight, or when I first got the offer for the fight, I told it was going to be a title fight, and I was excited about that. And then all of a sudden they said it wasn't going to be a title fight, and so when I asked why the title was taken off the line, they didn't really give me an answer. They just said that Joe didn't have to defend his title, and he actually took the fight on the stipulations that it's not a title fight. So I kind of thought that was him, the champ, and he talks about he can't defend his interim championship, but he has like 2 or 3 titles over there, so I'm sure he can defend one or the other, you know what I mean? So with them taking the title off the line, I was all good with that. So when they interviewed me, I've heard a little bit from Joe Schilling and whatnot, and I know he likes to talk a lot, and I'm not usually one to talk or be braggadocious about my fights or my opponents, but with the character Joe is, I just thought I'd speak my mind since I know he was going to do the same thing anyway. So, yeah, I said exactly what I was feeling and what I still think, and that he's an incomplete fighter, and I'm going to expose him. So he came back with his interview, talking and running his mouth like he does, and I said, okay, so if you're confident and you're going to back up your talk, why don't we just put our purses on the line to make it interesting?
Yeah, I mean, and it definitely
that's pretty much where it all stems from. And pardon me?
No, I said it definitely has been interesting, the lead up to the fight. He just did another interview. He just did another video interview, and he was talking about he was a little less braggadocious about it, I guess. He did say that I don't know if you saw it, but he did say that that you were I guess he did say you were a tough opponent, and that he was going to go in there and do his best. And obviously he still believes that he's going to be able to go in there and beat you. Either way, it's a really exciting fight. So from what I see, I'm not the thing is with Joe Schilling, I'll go out and say it. I'm not always too, I guess, too big of a fan of what he says sometimes, but at the same time, he does back up what he says, sometimes, even though I'm not big on the whole, trash talking thing, but that's characters in every sport. There's characters in every sport, and he has a large following. He's a guy that backs up what he says. He's a tough guy. And, he always does put his, I guess you could say he always does put his money where his mouth is. So he really is out to fight. And, I appreciate that about him. And I think that's something that he brings to the table that is in a lot of ways helping build the sport, especially here in the United States.
Absolutely. I think with guys like Joe, who talk a lot, in Muay Thai, especially in the North America, it can be a little bit less exciting because it's such a respectful sport. So although the art and the sport itself is so beautiful to watch, and the fight, it can be brutal, when the guys are before they get in the ring and after the ring, there's no hype, there's no entertainment. So I think this fight between me and Joe is actually something, the public's really interested in, because Joe likes to talk a lot, and most of his opponents ain't really got a mouth on them. Maybe they're intimidated by Joe or something like that, but I personally have no problem speaking what I think, and I don't really back down from anyone. And, you know, Joe has his own opinions. He says that I'm bigger than him and I'm younger than him, but I only walk around at 190. And I know Joe walks around probably at over 200 because when he weighed in the day after he fought Kalkai, he was already over 200. I've never even fought at 200, and I never walk around at 200. So he can just take that right out of his mind. So that won't be an excuse after I beat him.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's no, I definitely understand you, man. And I mean, it's exciting either way. I mean, both there's things being said. Obviously, it's a talk to hype up the fight, and I understand that. I mean, one thing I guess I do appreciate in a way is I think a lot of times that I hear a lot of trash talk in Muay Thai, it tends to be more. I guess it tends to be as I would like to say it's a little bit more civil. I mean, I guess you guys are just trying to make it fun. I don't see that there's too much, you know, personal attacks from both of you, you know. So I think it's better that way, and I am really, really excited for this fight. So many people are excited for this fight. A lot, especially like I said, he's got some very, very vocal fans who definitely want to see him, you know, pummel you as hard as you can and as hard as they can. And I also know that you have a very, very you know, vocal fan base up in Canada. I mean, I remember I actually fought on a card a while back where there was a bunch of members of Siam number 1 and then a couple of the other gyms that surround you guys like York Muay Thai and Krudar and things like that. So I know you have a very popular, you know, you have a very big fan base and they're also gunning for this fight. So I think in a lot of ways it's really important. It's a really important fight because yes, I understand that Muay Thai, you know, it's a lot about respect, and some people have come out and said they don't like too much of the trash talking going on, but it's the way it is, I guess, in a way here in the United States and in North America. It's just appeals to the American and North American psyche. You know, we love that. You know, we love the talking. We love the, you know, the kind of like, you know, everything that goes along with a fight and calling somebody out. And I think the way you guys are doing it, it's still respectful to the Muay Thai community, and it's still, you know, getting Muay Thai to be a lot more known, and that's something that you guys are both helping out with, and you know, it's going to be a great fight.
Most definitely. You know, when you get two guys who are both confident and they're both stand-up guys, they're going to say what's on their mind, and people could take it how they want to take it, but, you know, at the end of the day, all that's going to matter is what goes down in the ring and not what talking's going down outside the ring. So, you know, it's building up excitement for the fight. I'm glad everybody's interested, and I'm just looking forward to performing my best and displaying what I can do in the ring.
Yeah. You know, actually, in one of Joe's recent interviews, he had talked about the fact that obviously that, yes, you know, he was saying that he couldn't defend his WBC interim title. However, the WBC had told him that if he loses to you, they would take away his title. And obviously, I don't know what would end up happening with the idea that he wants to go fight. You know, I know he wants to fight Artem Levin, and Artem Levin is right now is defending his title against somebody who, you know, isn't considered, you know, isn't ranked or isn't somebody who's considered to be in contention for the title. So, in a lot of ways, I mean, what are your opinions on that? I mean, he would still lose the title, and a lot of people are saying that, you know, that if he did lose that fight, you would probably be the next guy to fight Artem Levin if everything goes well. Because sometimes, you know, I'll come out and say it myself, I don't understand what the WBC does sometimes with their titles.
Right.
But you know, there is speculation that if you were to beat Joe, you know, you'd be the next in line for it, and he would still lose it. So, I mean, how does that bode with you? I mean, does that still change? I mean, that's not going to change the way you train, but, you know, how do you feel about that? In a way, he is kind of still putting his reputation on the line against him. You know?
Right. Well, the way I see it, I'm a fighter, you know. I don't look at it from a promoter aspect of things. I don't look at it from a fan aspect of things. I look at it from a fighter aspect of things, and from not only a fighter aspect of things, but a fighter who wants to be the best in the world. So each fight for me, doesn't matter how small or how big the opponent is, it's just another stepping stone for me to get to the top of the mountain. So if Artem Levin's at the top and Joe Schilling's in my way, great. If Joe Schilling's not in my way, great. I'm still going to destroy him either which way because that's what I do as a fighter. But as far as the title goes and Joe not getting a shot, in my opinion, I agree with that because if Joe's supposed to be the number one contender and he loses, then he's no longer the number one contender. That would make me the number one contender. And if Artem Levin's the champion, I want a piece of that too. So, I've been in the sport for 6.5 years now, and I've been fighting pro for about 3 years. And for a long time now, I've just been aiming for the top. So I don't care who the guy is. It could be, I don't give a damn who the guy is. Anybody who's in the way of me getting to the top and being known as the best fighter in the world at my weight, I'm just down to fight them, and that's what I'm here for. So, that's my opinion on that.
Okay. And then, the last thing I guess I would want to talk about was, Joe had made some comments that your style is, and, I would agree with him on that sense. Your style is, you have a very technical style, very traditional Thai. Something I like very much. But his comments were that you are, he does see you as kind of a slow starter. Now, if we know Joe Schilling loves to come out and bang right away. I mean, he's a guy that wants to put a hurting on you, from the get-go. And in a lot of his previous fights, that's exactly how it goes, So, how do you feel? How do you feel dealing with that? How do you feel about those comments? Do you feel you are a slow starter? Is that something that you prepare for? Knowing that it's going to.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said, is that something you've been training for, knowing that he's going to come out and just try to bang right away?
No, see, a fighter like me, I'm not intimidated by any style of fighting. If you come out fast, I can bang in the first round. If you come out slow, I can test the waters and test the pace. When I fight, it's not always just to go out in the first round and try to knock somebody out. Sometimes I can beat the crap out of my opponent, and my corner man might tell me, okay, don't use your kicks or don't use your knees anymore. Try this weapon just so I can get more experience and be better. So even though I'm trying to win each fight, just because it might seem like I'm a slow starter doesn't mean that that I'm only trying to win the fight. I'm also trying to grow and get better as a fighter. And as far as fighters who come out fast, I have only a few of my fights actually on the internet that people can see, but I have 46 fights in total. And I fought more than a few guys who come out hard in the first round. I fought more than 4 or 5 guys that are over 250 pounds and hit hard as hell, and I was at my walking around weight. So as far as power and guys who come out with a hard pace, I've fought them before, and I've tested myself, and I have full confidence in my ability to fight any kind of style, whether you come out hard, whether you start slow. The reason why I personally don't always rush my opponent in the first round, even though sometimes I feel I could knock out some of my opponents in the first round, is because I'd rather try to use my brain and study where the openings are than just rush in and make a silly mistake or rush in and even knock him out and not gain anything much from the experience. You understand? So when I get in the ring, it's not always just about beating the shit out of my opponent. A lot of time I'm trying to gain from it. I'm trying to get better as a fighter. And so I wouldn't say I'm a slow starter, but what I would say is that I'm a smart fighter. It's not always the smartest thing to come out and rush your opponent right off the bat before you've had a chance to examine him and see where his openings or his patterns are. But as far as fighters who come out hard on me, every time it's happened, I end up knocking them out. So I have no problem with that either.
All right. Well, I mean, definitely, it's like I said, it's a fight that everybody wants to watch. Joe is very confident that he's going to beat you. You're very confident that you're going to be able to beat him. So I mean, it's a really good fight. There's a lot of things riding on it. Possible shot at Artem Levin for either one of you, whoever wins that, which is a potential world title. So I guess that's motivation for both of you guys. Simon, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us. I know you've been busy training, and so final words before you go. I mean, Joe, not to bring it up again, but Joe did say you're a Pop-Tart, soft in the middle, dude. What do you say to that?
Thank you. Like I said before, all that talk and all that stuff doesn't really mean much outside the ring. It's what's going down inside the ring. So I'll do my answering in the ring. And as far as final words go, I just want to say thank you to you and everyone who's been supporting me for this fight, and all the people who have been in the Muay Thai community who helped the Muay Thai grow. So I'd like to say thank you for that.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So everybody, that is Simon Marcus, and this is Muay Thai is Life. Thank you very much for listening in.
Sawadee Kap.